At home, we most
Hello? Hello? Hello everyone. Am I audible? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hello, Memon sir. Have you joined?
I've already joined, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Memon sir. Good
Yes,
morning,
sir.
sir.
Very good morning. Very good morning.
Okay. Sir, here we are going to start this session. Okay. Today we are here for the technical session 2 on the second day. I, Mr. Nitin Malegaonkar, on behalf of the organizing committee, welcome all of you, honorable dignitaries, learned delegates, respected teachers, students. Very good morning and welcome to one and all gathered here for the technical session 2 on the second day of 2 days National E-Conference on the journey of Indian economy after independence. On the occasion of 75th year of independence and Silver Jubilee year of college. Conference which is jointly organized by Department of Economics and the Department of Commerce of Sri Sautamari Gramin College, Pulam, District Aurangabad, affiliated to Dr. B.A.M.U. Marathwada University, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, and governed by Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Education Society, Aurangabad. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be given this opportunity to welcome Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin sir as a resource person for the technical session 2 on 26th May. Welcome, Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin sir. Actually, he will join after some time for this technical session, but it is a necessary to give a short introduction of him to the participants or the researchers. So here I am giving the short introduction of Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin sir. Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin sir is a professor, Department of Commerce, in Dr. B.A.M.U. Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He did M.Com, M.Phil, PhD, and Bachelor in Journalism from Dr. B.A.M.U. University. He also has distinction of having PGD B.M. from Wellington Institute, Mumbai, and PGD HRD from Aikolam, Chennai. He has teaching experience of 30 years. He has written 2 books on business environment in 2008 and basic finance in 2015. He is an editor of journal Deccan Business Review, board member of 2 journals. He has administrative experience of 1 year as a principal and 2.5 years as a vice principal. He was management council member, finance and accounting officer of university for 2 years, and also had a distinction of holding post of registrar of university during his course of his tenure. In his guidance, 18 students were awarded PhD and 21 students were awarded M.Phil degree. Similarly, at present, 11 students are pursuing their PhD with guidance. He has organized 12 conferences and 3 workshops on research methodology. He has attended 91 seminars and conferences. He has published papers in 38 international journal and national level publications, 28. He has delivered in all 207 lectures as a resource person at different seminars and conferences. workshop, orientation, and refresher courses. He has also published 6 articles in newspaper. He has completed international projects on tourism and collaboration with the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and MCED Government of Maharashtra. He is a live member of different associations such as Aurangabad Management Association, Aurangabad District Football and Association and others. He has mass media experience, worked as a transmission executive All India Radio for 11 years. He has awarded with the Best Feature Production Award for Family Welfare at Akashvani annual award in the 1998. He is also approved commentator for hockey, football, and cricket in sports. But in sports, he has represented a university football team 5 times and hockey team once. He was also captain of the team, then Marathwada University football team, winning the West Zonal Championship for the first time in the year 1989 and 90. The captain of runner-up university team for all India level. He has visited several countries in connection with conferences, projects such as European countries, Asian countries, US and African countries. In all, he has visited 26 countries throughout the world today. Sir, very welcome to the conference on Indian economy. Welcome. Our, now, I also feel very much proud for getting the opportunity to introduce and welcome chairperson of this conference, Dr. S.S. Patil sir. Professor S.S. Patil sir. Here is a duty to introduce himself to the participant and researcher. Here I am giving a short introduction of S.S. Patil sir. Professor S.S. Patil sir is a principal, author, and associate professor in Department of Economics, GBR Degree College, and PG Center, Huvinahadgali, District, Vijayanagar, State, Karnataka. He has published the books on the syllabus. The first is Bharatada Arthikati. It is in the Karnataka, so it has in Kannada language. So the book is for the UG and PG students for economics and competitive examination of the Karnataka University. The second book is Indian Economy for the UG and PG student, Montessori Monetary Economy for UG and PG student, Conviction and Relevance of the Mystic, English rendering of 108 Vachanas of Basavanna for the BA. Published the many articles on socio-economic issues of North and Hyderabad, Karnataka in daily newspaper. Participated in state and national seminar and workshop as a paper presenter and resource person. Served as a BOE chairman, BSK University, Ballari. Presently working as an US member of BSK University, Ballari. Research work on new railway project between Gadag and Harapanhari, new railway line. Life member of Indian Economic Association, President of Karnataka State Economics Federation. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this conference. The next session coordinator for this conference, I also feel very much proud for getting the opportunity to welcome our friend and also a session coordinator for this session, Dr. Ubed Memon sir. Dr. Memon Ubed Yusuf has come. Here I am giving the short introduction. Dr. Memon Ubed Yusuf has completed M.Com, M.Phil, PhD in Finance, MBA Finance, MA Economics, B.Ed and GD. He has been serving as a faculty in the Department of Commerce, Sir Sayyad College of Arts, Commerce and Science since 2006 and has teaching experience of 16 years at UT and 15 years for the PG, along with 15 years of research experiences. Up till now, 4 students have been awarded PhD under his guidance and 4 research scholars are working under his guidance. One book on computer application in 2019 is to his credit. Up till now, 139 research papers have been published in international and national journals with more than 50 research papers in impact factor in journal and 4 research paper in CPR listed journal and 1 research paper in international journal. Oman Business Review 2002. Till date, 91 research paper has been given in national state conferences and as seminars. As a resource person, he has just delivered 5 lectures in national and international conferences and had organized 7 conferences, seminar and at a national and international level. To his credit, there are 7 national awards, namely Mahatma Jyotiba Phule International Award 2021 for Education by Sayyad Social Foundation Pune, Bharat Ratna APJ Abdul Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Honor Award 2019 by Research Ground, Swami Vivekananda International Award 2018 by Jana Adhyayan Maharashtra, Baba Saheb Ambedkar Fellowship Award 2016 by Bharatiya Sahitya Academy New Delhi, Dr. Punjab Rajeshwar National Award for Academic and Social Contribution 2016 by International Human Justice Federation Satara Maharashtra, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule National Award for Researcher and Academician 2015 by Babu Jagjivan Ram Kala Sanskriti and Sahitya Academy New Delhi, Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj National Award for Researcher and Academician Award in 2014 by Babu Jagjivan Ram Kala Sanskriti and Sahitya Academy of New Delhi. 1 patent along with his research team has also been registered in 2022. Area of specialization in finance, business, economics, and IT. He has also served the exam department as an exam chair, paper setter, and moderator, and so many things he has done. He has also attended 11 workshops and at national level. I feel very proud to welcome Dr. Ubed Memon sir, and I'm also very proud that he is our friend. So I welcome him. Welcome Dr. Ubed Memon sir. Here was the short introduction of our chairperson, of the resource person, and session coordinator for today's the second technical session. So the next, I hand over charge of this virtual session and virtual stage to Dr. Ubed Memon sir. Memon sir, please
Yes.
go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you very much, sir, for a brief introduction. Now, very good morning to all of you. I welcome to you all for the second technical session for the National E-Conference on the journey of Indian economy after independence. We have a long list of researchers, paper presenters, right? I'll call the name one by one, and I request the researcher, the paper presenter, to present this paper, right? During the presentation, I would request the researcher or the paper presenter to be in brief, right? A short introduction, the objectives of the paper, and the main theme of the paper, and lastly, the conclusion part of the paper, right? Each paper, so since we have a long list of paper presenters, we will give around 5 minutes of time for presentation and 2 minutes for winding up your session, right? Now I request I have a list of paper presenters along with me for the second technical session, and I request the first paper presenter, Mr. Mohan Gopal Singh Rajput. His paper title is India's Foreign Development Investment Era After Independence. I request Mr. Mohan Gopal Singh Rajput to give his presentation. Mr. Mohan Gopal Singh Rajput. Is he online over here?
Not there. Yeah, the second presenter you can call.
Okay.
Sir, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
The second paper presenter is Dr. Somya MS from SB College. The topic of the paper title is Impact of Economic Reforms on the Indian Steel Industry in the eve of Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav. I will request Dr. Somya to present this paper.
Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, good morning. We can hear you. You're audible. Continue, ma'am.
Madam, start your video also, please.
Ma'am,
Okay.
continue, ma'am.
Okay. Video. Hello, good morning all. I'm Dr. Soumya M.S. The title of my paper is Impact on Economic Reform on Indian Steel Industry. Now, when we have to discuss about economic impact of economic reform, it's better to start with what economic reform itself is. Economic reform, the term economic reform refers to implementing fundamental changes in economic policies, rules, and regulations to achieve economic growth. But by the passage of time, there was tremendous with the passage of time, the connotation of economic reform has changed. Nowadays, the term economic reform refers to deregulation or times to reduction in the size of government to remove distortion caused by regulations or presence of government rather than new or increased regulation or government program to reduce distortion caused by market structure. So my paper focus on the impact of these economic reforms on Indian steel industries. Steel is one of the most commonly used input for both primary as well as secondary sector. Apart from this, Indian steel industry is one of the largest industries in India because of having a common link between all the sectors of economies. And in short, the all in short, a countries of economic growth with, is inseparably connected to the growth of its steel industry. So to assess the impact of economic reform, it is in a detailed study of influence of economic reform on steel industries plays an important role. When we speak about the history of economic reform, our nation or our country is the first country, according to archaeologists and historians, India was the first country to practice manufacturing methods. And even actually, our nation has started steel production and applications since 3000 years ago, 3000 years itself. And however, this industry did not have any strong foundation till 1907. It was actually in 1907 the first steel plant was established in India, that is Tata Iron and Steel Company. And thereafter, few more steel plants were established, but a magnificent growth has seen after independence when government of Indian government took control over this steel sector, this sector. And thereafter, it was in 1970, we can see so many steel industries were established, but unfortunately, these industries could not even continue its operation till at least for a decade itself because of acute shortage of input materials as well as electricity issues itself. Then the government started to implement sustainable development policies as well. Then liberalization policies was introduced with the announcement of liberalization policy. A large number of private sector units were entered into this sector. But even though what we can say a remarkable point or from the first economic reform, Indian steel industries took a new dimension. It was from first economic reform, that is 1991 policies, this sector has took a new dimension itself. So this study is intended to highlight the impact of economic reform since 1991 on steel industries. When we speak about the objectives of my study, the first foremost objective is to evaluate the performance of steel industries since the first economic reforms in terms of production, consumption, and foreign trade. And the second objective is to study the impact of economic reform on steel industries in terms of production, consumption, as well as import and export. And the method and materials I used, it is the secondary, the study actually based on material collected from World Steel Association report, then Joint Plan Commission report, then annual reports of steel industry, Government of India, and different books, journals, and articles. The period of study referred is from the first economic reform, that is 1991 till 2001, and the tabular form, line charts, bar charts and bar charts are used to represent data. Actually, bar charts are used to show variation of data change over a period of time, as well as for illustrating the comparison. Then line charts depicts the trends of data change, and in order to evaluate the performance of industry, compound annual growth rate is calculated. If we consider about the data I collected, even in the introductory set part itself, I told that first economic reform were introduced in 1991, and with the passage of time, there was variation in the connotation of economic reform itself. So the entire data has been grouped into two categories, that is 1991 to 2016 and 2016 to 2021. And the scope and limitations about when we speak about the scope and limitation, the important influence of any economic reform that relating to any sector, we can assess by analyzing the effect of important variables like production, consumption or sale, its import and export. So this study focuses on analysis and interpretation of these variables only. Now, these are the production or consumption data which I collected, and even variation of reports. Before we go through the figures, I think it's better to understand the scenario itself. We all know that COVID-19 pandemic caused profound disruption in the global economy itself. Our nation too witnessed poor demand and even broken supply chain, falling of output prices, and even all that's true in almost all sectors of the economy. And when we think about MSME, most of the MSMEs were likely to shut down permanently, and in such circumstances, it is certainly very difficult for any industry to upscale the production, isn't it? Upscale the production or sale. Apart from this, for Indian steel industry, there was acute coal shortage in India, which raised the production cost and even operating of steel industries, operating cost of steel industries. So the following chart shows these charts shows how our steel industry fared this condition. If we consider the data of, even I told you that entire data has been grouped into two. So this one is the group 2016 to 2021. Even in case of 2016, the production was 116, nearer to 117 million ton steel. When it compared, when it comes to 2021, it was just 111 million ton. During the period itself, there is drastic decline in this industry, in the production itself. And when it comes to consumption too, almost the same is the situation. In case of consumption, there is slightly increase in trend we can observe. And hello. Ah, sir.
So madam, conclude it within 2 minutes, madam. It is very long time you are taking. Okay. Yes. Ubed, sir.
Then
yes, sir.
These are the analysis of research data. If I have to conclude within 5 minutes, then okay, we'll come to the concluding slide. Conclusion. Our steel industry, we all know that steel industry is one of the fastest growing industry in the world, and for any nation's economic growth is inseparably connected to the growth of the industry. And presently, this study reveals that even though the current production growth rate is poor, further analysis and interpretation of the study reveals that India has the potential to become the topmost producer of steel in future. Apart from this, if we consider the CAGR growth rate, the export and consumption or sale of finished steel shows remarkable picture of steel industry. Even in this COVID pandemic era too, the export rate of steel has been increased tremendously, as well as in case of consumption or sale, the report shows that there is an increasing trend. Apart from this, the steady growth rate of production and consumption during 1997 to 2017 indicate that India has set a higher growth path, but growth rate of production from 17 to 21 does not seems to be so impressive as such. So, as per the study, India, we all know, India being the second largest producer of crude oil as of October 2021 report, by taking the help of this competitive advantage and policy support like production-linked incentive schemes and monetary assistance like recently the union budget to 22-23 allotted 43 crores to this sector. So India's finished steel production is anticipated to increase 2030 million ton by 2030-31 as against the production target set by set of 300 million ton by National Steel Policy 2017. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Now I call upon the next presenter, Mr. Raju Ambure. The title of presentation is An Analysis of Foreign Direct Investment in Commercial Real Estate Business in India. Mr. Raju Ambure. Is he online?
Memon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Memon.
Yes, sir. Mr. Raju Ambure is not available.
Calling for the paper. Yes, while calling for the paper, intimate him for the time schedule.
Okay, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
after 5 minutes, you can
A warning bell.
give only 1 or 2 minutes after that time.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's not
Mr.
there.
Raju, okay.
He's
I call upon the next presenter, Mrs. Sarita Bhimrao Bhavaskar. The topic of presentation is a study of non-performing assets of commercial banks in Marathwada. Mrs. Sarita Bhimrao Bhavaskar. Is she online?
Yes, she's there. She's there, but she's not responding.
Okay. Ma'am, if you are available, can you start your presentation? The last call for Mrs. Sarita Bhimrao Bhavaskar to give a presentation. I call upon the next paper presenter, Dr. P.N. Dapke, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Economics, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Mahavidyalaya. The topic of the title of his presentation is Group Farming in Maharashtra. Mr. Dr. P.N. Dapke, sir.
Yes, sir.
So can you start your presentation and try to wind up in 5 to 6 minutes?
Yes,
in
sir.
brief. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Welcome, sir.
Respected dignitaries and all dear participants, good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. P.N. Dapke, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Economics, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Aurangabad. My topic on group farming in Maharashtra. Abstract of my topic is economic development of any country depends upon development of agriculture, industrial and service sector. At present, we all know the investment of industrial and service sector are very high, with definitely high returns. But in agriculture sector, there is a high investment with uncertainty, low returns. Sometimes it gives negative returns. Due to this, number of farmers doing suicides in Maharashtra state as well as in country. Problems of returns in agriculture sector are seen from independence. So time to time, government is applying various schemes to improve situation in agriculture sector. The first plan focused on rising agricultural productivity to use more land under cultivation and use more important to irrigation and power. The experience of planning commission realized that from second and third plan, the increase in agriculture production was very important. So Planning Commission gave more importance to agriculture in fourth plan. Thereafter, government is continuously giving more priority to agriculture development and applying various new schemes for agriculture. It is one of the best examples of group farming. Meaning of group farming. Group farming means small farmers can pool their land, labor, and capital could have economic, environmental, and social advantages. They cultivate crops jointly and share cost and benefit. Due to this, they enjoy economies of scale, increase their investable fund, reduce labor and input cost, and adopt innovative technologies. Objectives of group farming. Group farming is the idea of Bina Agrawal and Bruno Dorin. The main aim of group farming is to increase agriculture production with the help of lot of small and marginal farmers. The main objectives of group farming are to make agriculture economically affordable and suitable especially for the small and marginal farmers. To provide financial incentives up to rupees 1 crore to each group and to help bring down investment expenditure and double the yield. And third one is farmers make to enable maximum use of machines and technology at a reasonable cost. So now the situation of group farming in Maharashtra. In Maharashtra state, former Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis gave the cabinet approval for group farming model and it was announced in March 2017. The state target was set to bring 44 lakh farmers under the group farming model, especially small and marginal landholding farmers with debt-ridden, poor and drought-prone districts. Important thing is that the farmers showing positive response and involved 40,762 farmers in various 1,1200 groups. District agriculture officials play an important role in guiding the farmers with new technology and crop patterns in group farming. Today, farmer needs group farming because they were in heavy debt, having small and scattered land holding. They didn't have money and knowledge to use proper equipment, good seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and mostly depend on monsoon. In Maharashtra state, Pune city is far front in group farming movement. In Pune district, there are 4,000 groups of 20 farmers. These groups and producer company come together and invest in cold storage plants. Increase in use of technology. Many countries of the world increase in agriculture productivity for a commercial point of view. Therefore, the use of technology in the agriculture sector of that country is more and more. In recent times, the approach of Indian farmers has also changed towards agriculture sector. Therefore, day by day, the demand of improved seeds, fertilizers, medicines, various agricultural implements is increasing in India. Causes of low productivity. Agriculture is the main source of livelihood. At present, near about 60% people are depending on agriculture in India. However, in developed countries like USA, UK, Germany, and New Zealand, only 2 to 3% people are dependent. Indian agricultural sector shows that the agricultural productivity is very low as compared to developed countries. There are many factors that affect agriculture productivity, but in all of these, the poverty in India is one of the main reasons for the low productivity. Second thing is that there is a lack of modern technology and farmers using traditional method for farming on large scale. There is a lot of research done on fertilizers, seeds, medicines, and tools, but awareness of using this modern technology does not seem to be used fully realized yet. Wheat, millet, sorghum, cotton, picking machines, and other sophisticated agriculture machinery will be manufactured. But all these machines and implements are expensive and not affordable for farmers. Small and marginal farmers, okay sir, we will finish. There it is used scarcely. Conclusion of my study is, in this context of agricultural production trends, there has been a steady increase in agriculture production trends in the last few decades, the collective effect of many factors is seen to bring about this change in the production trend. This includes the use of modern methods instead of traditional farming methods, successful human activities for adaptations of natural resources, agricultural research and technology, grain revolutions, irrigation facilities, use of high-yielding seeds, effective fertilizers, pesticides, government involved in agriculture with the help of agricultural college and agricultural universities. Various demonstrations in the field of agriculture, spreading knowledge of
Memon sir,
agriculture.
you can start your audio. Your audio is.
Agriculture universities, various demonstration in the field of agriculture, spreading knowledge of agricultural through training camps as well as programs broadcast on agriculture sector from time to time through radio, TV and other media. This resulted in tremendous increase in agriculture production. As this experience, group farming model definitely reduces the cost of production and increase in agriculture productions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for a very good presentation. Now I call upon the next presenter, Anamul Haq Ghani and Arif Mohammed Khan, research scholars, Department of Economics, Central University of Kashmir. Anamul Haq.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Sir,
Please start a presentation. And in a span of 5 minutes, you need to wind up.
okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Good morning to all of you, sir. Sir, we have this paper is written by two authors, Anamul Haq Ghani and Arif Mohammed Khan. Sir, we will present both. I will present the first part, and the next part will be presented by Anam. Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, the title of our paper is Impact of Carbon Dioxide Emissions, Renewable Energy and Non-Renewable Energy Consumption on Economic Growth of India, and Empirical Evidence from Auto-Regressive Distributive Lag Model Bound Testing Approach. Next. 1 minute, sir. Developing a sustainable economy and protecting the environment are the two biggest challenges for the world economy. However, with the degradation of environmental quality, the environment has become one of the most critical issues for contemporary times for both developing and the developed countries. According to the International Agency IEA 2019, India, China, and the United States accounted for 85% of their net surge in greenhouse gas emissions in 2018. India's carbon dioxide emissions increased by 4.8% in 2018, with a growth split eventually between power and other sectors like transportation. Carbon dioxide concentrations have surged in recent decades, contributing to the climatic change and global warming, both of which constitute a danger to environmental sustainability. Next. As a result, to reduce environmental emissions, energy demand must be reduced. On the other side, it is also claimed that lowering carbon dioxide emissions have macroeconomic implications. Thus, an effort to limit energy use and simultaneously diminish carbon dioxide emissions will have a determinantal influence on output growth, because energy is a vital element in the production process. With the above environmental concerns in mind, as well as the necessity of renewable energy for sustained economic growth, this paper examines the dynamic linkage between carbon dioxide emissions, consumption of renewable and non-renewable energy, and economic growth in India from 1990 to 2080. At the same time, it is controlling for trade openness, because trade has a significant impact on these factors. Next. Sir, this is the fundamental objective of our paper. The objective of our paper is to investigate the impact of carbon dioxide emissions, renewable and non-renewable energy consumption on economic growth of India. The hypothesis for our study is there is no impact of carbon dioxide emissions, renewable and non-renewable energy consumption on economic growth of India. And the alternative hypothesis is there is an impact of carbon dioxide emissions, renewable and non-renewable energy consumption on economic growth of India. Next. Sir, this is the data source and the variable description of our paper. Sir, this is the natural logarithm of gross domestic production per capita. This is our dependent variable, and we have extracted the data for the said variable from WDI. Natural logarithm of carbon dioxide emissions metric tons per capita. This variable has also been extracted from WDI. Natural logarithm of non-renewable energy consumption. This data, sorry, the data of the said variable has been extracted from our world in a database. Natural logarithm of renewable energy consumption. The data for the said variable has been extracted from our world in a database. And the natural logarithm of trade as a percent of GDP. That's where the data for the said variable has been extracted from the WDI, sir. Sir, GDP is our dependent variable, and the remaining variables are our explanatory variables. So this is a model selection. GDP is a function of carbon dioxide emissions, renewable energy consumption, non-renewable energy consumption, and trade openness. Sir, the GDP is our dependent variable, and the first three explanatory variables, these are the first three are explanatory variables, and the trade openness is our control variable. So we have converted all variables to logarithms in order to attain more reliable and consistent estimates. The model selection after transformation is as follows. Natural logarithm of GDP is a function of beta. Sir, first of all, okay, next. Sir, first of all, in order to investigate the relationship between renewable energy consumption, non-renewable energy consumption per capita GDP, and trade openness, first of all, it is necessary in a time series data to perform the unit row test. Sir, it is critical to know whether the variables are stationary or not in order to carry out an empirical exercise efficiently and avoid any superstitious relationship. Sir, there are several tests available in time series data. Sir, we have gone through two tests. To determine the order of integration, we have performed augmented Dickey-Fuller test and Phillips paradigm wire user, since they are popular and simple to use. Sir, to carry out an...
Yes, sir, try to wind up soon. Sir, try to wind up your presentation, the conclusion part.
Sir, I request Mr. Anam to present the next session.
Conclusion.
Thank you, Arif. I will present the next half of my paper. Okay, let me skip this. This is our methodology of our paper, ARDL technique. I will directly come to the results of my study.
Yeah, okay.
These are the results of our formal unit test. As you can see on the slide, ADF test and the flip around test, all the variables are of order of integration of I1. That is, all our variables are stationary at I0. And after that, we have incorporated lag selection. We have used Shiva's criteria, and we have used Shiva's criteria and the lag order selection where 1 0 0 0 0 0. This is our lag selection model. And after that, we have introduced bounds test in order to know the co-integration between the variables. As you can see, the F statistics is 4.5, which is upper than critical value bound at I1 at all significance level 2.5%, 5%, and 10% level of significance. These are the long run elasticities of our model. As you can see, all the variables are statistically significant at 1% level, whether it is carbon dioxide emission, non-renewable energy consumption, renewable energy consumption, or trade openness, all are statistically significant at 1% level. One unit increase in carbon dioxide emissions leads to a decrease in GDP 0.61%. Similarly, a unit increase in non-renewable energy consumption leads to increase in 1.35% in GDP, and similarly, unit increase in renewable energy consumption leads to increase in 0.17% in GDP, and similarly, trade openness, a unit surge in trade openness leads to a decrease in GDP, that is 0.11%. And these are the long shortened elasticities of our model, and all the variables are statistically significant at 1% level, and the results are same as in the previous slide. The long run results and short run results are more or less similar. There is a negative relationship between carbon dioxide and GDP, and trade openness and GDP, and there is a positive relationship between non-renewable energy consumption and renewable energy consumption. And these are the stability parameter test. In order to stability parameter test, they are more or less our model is stable because at the 5% level, the critical is stability parameter test. At 5% level, our model is statistically significant. And these are the results of diagnostic test, whether our model is functionally, whether it is our model does not pass any heterostatic problem. As you can see from the probability value is statistically insignificant. This means that our model does not pass any heterostatic problem. Similarly, a Ramsey test has been done for the functional form. You can see that the probability value is insignificant. This means that our model does not form any functional form. And this is the Jagabra test and the Godfrey serial correlation LM test, which is also statistically insignificant. Means that our model is normally well, and there is no serial correlation at all.
Please come to the conclusion part, sir.
Okay, this is my conclusion. Okay, sir, this is my conclusion. There is a long-run co-integration between the variables, and second, there is a long-run elasticities. There is a positive relationship between renewable energy and non-renewable energy consumption with economic growth, while there is negative relationship per capita carbon dioxide emission and trade openness. And same results have been occurred in the short-term results. And I will come to the recommendations. In order to achieve the energy security, India must strengthen support programs, manage non-renewable energy sources, build a flexible energy infrastructure, and integrate better renewable energy production and consumption. For carbon dioxide emissions to be reduced and sustainable growth to be achieved, more research and development efforts will be required in introducing and deploying innovative energy-saving alternative technologies. Furthermore, reducing India's growing reliance on imported fossil fuels will assist to mitigate the effects of energy price volatility, while also contributing to carbon emissions. This leads to a sustainable and green development that meets the needs of enhancing India's people's standard of living in general and their living environment normal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please start your first slide, and your video also start, please.
Yes, sir.
Your first slide, show your first slide, and the video also start.
First slide.
Yeah. Your video.
The transition from non-renewable energy to more.
First slide. Starting slide number 1.
We have to take the screenshot for our record.
Sir, yes. Sir, first slide, which contains your names and
your video, please. Your starting video.
Video, sir.
Presenter. Paper present.
Hari Hussain. Here is a buttons of video. Please start. Yes. Both are not there.
No, sir. Both cannot be come.
Okay, next project.
Next person.
Anamul Haq.
Solve the Anamul.
Okay, is this clear? Now I call upon the next paper presenter, Dr. S.S. Mule. The paper title is Impact of Information Technology in Indian Banking System. Dr. S.S. Mule.
Sir, he is not there.
We call upon the next paper presenter, Dr. Nasiket Govindrao Suryavanshi. The paper title is Growing Population After Independence, Malediction and Suryavanshi.
Yes, sir.
Nasiket Govindrao Suryavanshi.
Yes, sir. I am present here.
And try to wind up in 5 minutes.
Okay, sir. I will try to conclude my paper in 5 minutes. Okay. I will share with you my screen. Just 1 minute. Yes, sir. Okay, now, sir, I will start. My paper title is Growing Population After Independence, Malediction and Benediction. Sir, I am audible to all?
Yes, sir. You are audible also, and your paper is visible also.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I will start, sir, now. My paper title is Growing Population After Independence, Malediction and Benediction. So, introduction. Population growth refers to an increase in the number of people existing within a given region. With population growth is caused due to an increase in the birth rate of the migration statistics for that region, and the decrease in death rate and the number of people leaving the region for another. Okay, sir. There are some objective for my paper. First objective is that to study growing population after independence. Second objective of my paper, to study of growing population after independence, malediction. And third objective is that benediction of growing population after independence. uh, as the nation approaches the end of the 77 years of the independence, it is worth looking back the how far of the nation has come in such short span of the time. At the present time, in our country's population, near about had a population 340 million. Its literacy level was the all alarming how big was around 12% over the last 7 decades or so. Indian population has risen to nearly 1.4 billion. The current population of India 140 as of Friday, May 13, 2012 to 2022, based on the World Meter Elaboration. At the present time, latest United Nations data, the total world population as the 2020 is the 775 crore. The main features of India's population: large size of the first growth, second stage of the demographic transition, rapidly rising dynasty, sex ratio composition unfavorable to female. Okay, bottom heavy age structure, uh, predominance of rural population, low quality of population. Next, population distribution of high and low by country in the world according to 2020 data. Sir, there is a China is the first rank on highly population, second India, third United States, fourth Indonesia, and five Pakistan. And low countries of in population, Holy See country is the only 801 population, and Tokyo 135.7, and a new 1626, and Monster 4992. Population growth of India per decade, 1951, 1961, 1971, 1981, 1991, 2001, and at the present time, according to 2011 census, 121 crore population in our country. Okay, population distribution in high and low states, union territories. Uttar Pradesh is a high population state in our country at the present time, and Lakshadweep, it is a very low population in our country, only 64,473 population. Religious population numbers according to 2011 census, Hindus, there are a highly population of religious in our country according to 2011, 79%, 79.80%, and low population of not stated. um, Okay. Uh, I will take a now last conclusion my paper, benediction of population growth and malediction of population growth. Okay. Now I will try to finish my paper within 2 minutes. Conclusion. Even though is the exact figure of the world population is not fixed, many experts agree the population growth comes with numerous benefits. However, for a nation of the continually enjoy these many benefits, it has to ensure it takes several measures to ensure that population growth is being checked and controlled. This is because the population growth is not monitored. It can be very disadvantageous to the nation of the diverse ways. Overpopulation may lead to many issues like deflection of natural resources, environmental pollution, and the degradations and loss of the surroundings. All countries must take a immediate step to control and manage human population growth by 2050. India will surpass China, most populous country in the world, with an estimated 1.67 billion people. trends also suggest that more people will live in Nigeria than the US by 2050, with Nigeria population predicted to double from 201.0 million people to 401.3 million people. Thanks to give me opportunity to present paper here. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much, sir.
South Amari Gramin Mahajali Fulamri. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now I call for the next paper presenter, Mr. Virendra R. Surase. The topic is, the title of the paper is Digital Payment System in India. Virendra R. Surase.
He's
The next
not
paper
there.
presenter is Mr. Sagar. Now there, Mr. Sagar Tukaram Jodge. His paper title is The Role of Social Media on Enhancing Advertising Effectiveness.
Not there, sir.
Mr. Not there. Now I next call upon the next paper presenter, Dr. Vilas G. Dapke. Title of this paper is
Only names are no name of paper. Hello.
the next paper presenter is
Sir,
Parag
Dapke is
Gawande.
there. Mr. Vilas Dapke is there.
Vilas Dapke sir is there. Okay. I request Vilas Dapke sir to give us presentation on this paper. Mr. Vilas Dapke sir.
Sir, he's not responding. He's there.
Okay.
Next, you can.
Next paper presenter. Now I call upon Mr. Parag Gawande. The title of his paper is Present Situation of Gems Industry and Employment Opportunities in India. Special reference to diamond.
He's also not there, sir.
Next, now I call upon the next paper presenter is Gopal Deshmukh and Mr. S.M. Mante sir. The title of the paper is Women Entrepreneurship in India.
Sir,
Gopal
just,
Deshmukh.
only paper reader name.
Gopal
Please.
Deshmukh sir. Yeah.
Sir, he is also not there.
Nice upon Mr. Next, the paper presenter is Dr. Feroz Asghar Beg from SB College. The title of the paper is A Systematic Analysis of Marketing Strategies of Cement Industry in Aurangabad District. Mr.
Not there.
Feroz Asghar Beg. Out there.
Not
Next paper presenter is Ashwini B. Jagdale. The title of the paper is Digital Banking in India, Opportunities and Challenges. Ashwini B. Jagdale.
Next, you can call next.
Ashwini out there. Next, Satish B. Jagdale and Professor J.R. Srivanshi. The title of the paper is A Study of Progress of Sugar Industry, Problem and Challenges. Satish B. Jagdale, sir.
You can call next, sir. Next.
Memon sir. Memon sir. Hello. Hello, Memon sir.
Yes, sir.
I think that respected Dr. Azahrudin sir has joined the conference. So,
Sir has joined, yes, yes.
yes, sir. So, please give me 2 minutes for welcome and introduction. Okay, sir. सर माझा व्हिडिओ चालू करा म्हणा बघा माझा व्हिडिओ चालू हॅलो
Video is started now.
hello
Yes, you are audible, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Hello, everyone, to all of the participants and researchers, dignitaries, chief guest of this conference. So, we have presented some papers. Our resource person of this technical session, Dr. Azahrudin sir, has joined the conference. Just it is our duty to welcome. So here I feel very much proud and privileged and honored to be given this opportunity to welcome Dr. Azahrudin sir as a resource person for the technical session 2 on the 26th May of 2022. I will give here, sir, please welcome to this conference. I will give a short introduction of Dr. Azahrudin sir. Dr. Azahrudin sir is professor at our Department of Commerce, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, Maharashtra. He did M.Com, M.Phil, PhD, bachelor degree in journalism from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He also has distinction of having PG DPM from Wellington Institute, Mumbai, PGD, HRD from Aikulam, Chennai. He has teaching experiences of 30 years. He has written 2 books on business environment in 2008 and basic finance in 2015. He is also an editor of journal Deccan Business Review and board member of 2 journals. He has administrative experience of 1 year as principal and 2.5 years as a vice principal. He was management council member, finance and accounting officer of University of Babasaheb University for 2 years, and also had a distinction of holding post of registrar of university during the course of his tenure. He is In his guidance, 18 students were awarded PhD and 21 students were awarded MPhil degree. Similarly, at present, 11 students were pursuing PhD. He has organized 12 conferences and 3 workshops on research methodology. He has attended 91 seminars and conferences. He has published papers in 38 international journals and national level publication 28. He has delivered in all 207 lectures as a resource person at different seminars and conferences. I think this is a record. Different seminar and conferences, workshops, orientation and refresher courses. He has also published 6 articles in newspaper. He has completed international projects on tourism in collaboration with Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and MCED Government of Maharashtra. He is life member of different associations such as Aurangabad Management Association, Aurangabad District Football Association and others. He has mass media experiences, worked as a transmission executive in All India Radio for 11 years. He was awarded with Best Feature Production Award for Family Welfare at Akashvani Annual Award in the year 1998. He is also approved commentator for hockey, football and cricket. In sports, he has represented university football team at 5 times and hockey teams once. He was also captain of then Maharashtra University football team, winning the West Zonal Championship for first time in the year 1989 and 90, and the captain of runners-up university team at all India level. He has visited several countries in connection with conferences and projects such as European countries, Asian countries, US and African countries. In all, he has visited 26 countries throughout the world up to date. I feel very proud to welcome Dr. Azahrudin sir, our guide and our mentor also. We always take a suggestion of Dr. Azahrudin sir whenever we are going to research something. I heartily welcome Dr. Azahrudin sir. So
thank you very much.
I will hand over the charge of this session to Dr. Ubed.
Very good morning, sir. Sir, please continue with your presentation. I welcome Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin, sir. Mr. Nathan Malgaonkar has given a very brief introduction of sir. Now I request sir to give us presentation on the title. Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin, sir.
Thank you very much. Just raise your hand if I am clearly audible.
Yes.
Memon sir, just raise your hand if I am clearly audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I start, I request each and everyone to close their mics, to mute their mics so that you can hear me very clearly. I request everybody to mute your mics so that I will be clearly audible to everybody. Please. Thank you very much. At the outset, I thank Shri Sant Savtamadi Gramin Mahavidyalaya Fulamri, District Aurangabad, Maharashtra, India, especially Department of Economics and Commerce for inviting me as a resource person for National E-Conference on the journey of Indian economy after independence. Before I come to my topic of the session, I would like to congratulate the organizers for selecting a very important topic, journey of Indian economy after independence, so that we can have a total review of what happened from 1947 to date. So I congratulate all of you for selecting a very good topic of this National E-Conference. Friends, my topic for session is sustainable development of Indian economy, economics of self-reliance in new millennium. The fruits of the development are seen throughout India. And I will begin with a quotation which is very famous and always it is used. Rome was not built in a day. If you understand this quotation, in the backdrop of this quotation, I will take you to the journey from 1947 to date. The latest Russia-Ukraine war, we will see this journey. Economic planning after independence started with the aim of becoming self-reliant because we were free from the shackles of British rule. And the Planning Commission was set up in March 1950. There was urgent need for economic growth where short-term measures and long-term planning was the need of the hour at the time of independence. And that is why you will find that the government adopted a certain methodology so that they can fulfill the short-term measures and also make a long-term planning so that the country will develop in a sustainable manner. If you look at the GDP of India in 1947, you will find that it was 2.5 lakh crore rupees. And today it has gone up to 236.44 lakh crore rupees in 2021-22. See the massive difference, 2.5 lakh crore and 236.44 lakh crore in 2021-22. A massive difference. It can be seen from the, you can say, the figure. Of course, after independence, where the British were ruling, India was having another option to look for the alternative of British. Again, they did not want to go back to the shackles of British rule. So the planners at that time especially looked at the other model, that is the socialist model. And they were very impressed with Joseph Stalin, who implemented the first 5-year plan for Soviet Union in 1928. And on that base only, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, implemented the first 5-year plan in 1951. And that after that, it is history. And when it started, we were very fortunate that all the policies which were required, especially economic policies, which were required, were incorporated from time to time as per the requirement. Looking at the industrial policy, trade policy, monetary policy, fiscal policy, Indian agriculture policy, national agriculture policy, international trade policy, exchange rate management, the policy for exchange rate management, then export-import EXIM policy, microeconomic policies were also adopted, labor market policies were adopted, and tariff and trade policies in the latest were adopted. Initially, India adopted the mixed economy pattern. The reason for adopting mixed economy pattern was we did not want to get into the vicious circle of the previous rulers, so that we should be different from them in certain way. We should not go back to the shackles. And that is why a mixed pattern of economic development was followed at that time. You will notice that at the start, the establishment of heavy industries, public and private, were only for generating more employment to the people who were engaged in the independence movement. And very well, it was the need of the hour at that time, because we were just free from the British rule. And the type of economic systems, how can we move? The traditional economic system, which is there, which relies on custom, history, trade and beliefs, which is evident in some African countries, Bhutan, Haiti. Now, this was not possible because of the vast nature of the country. The belief in community, family, clan, tribe, all these things would have been very difficult for a country, massive country like India, to adopt. So that is why the traditional economic system was not adopted. The command economy system, here the government decides how much to produce, at which price the produce will be handed over, also decides the investments, also decides the limits, and the main thing, allocation of resources. And according to the central plan, the government will also have some monopoly businesses with them. Now, this was again a model which was keeping the government machinery very tight in the command economy situation or system. And when we say that the command economy system or situation, you will find that it would have been very difficult to follow. So we went for a step further, the mixed economy system. And this mixed economy system, a combination of capitalism and socialism. And India, up to 1195, remember this date, 1195, when India became the founder member of WTO, and we changed from the mixed economy system to the new free market economy system. In a mixed economy system, the coexistence of the private, public, and joint sector, and there is also a provision for social security system. And this is something which was very much needed, and the model was suitable for India. Being a democratic, one of the largest democratic country in the world, that model suited. And that is why we moved with the backdrop of mixed economy system. And after new economic policy of 1991 and the founder membership of WTO from 1/1/1995, the capitalist economic system we tend to adopt, leaving back the mixed economic system. Of course, the traces are there. We have not shifted totally. Because in the capitalist economy, the private individuals, they own the business, they own capital goods, economic freedom is there, free trade is promoted, and it is also found that there is limited government interference. Of course, when we talk about free market economy, this is bound to come. Now, friends, as I told you, I will take you to the journey after independence. When the Indian planners thought about the 5-year plans, the first 5-year plan from 1951 to 1956, the main objective was the basic needs: roti, kapda, makan, food, clothing, and shelter. And that is why overall development of agriculture was focused in the first 5-year plan. And with that, the starting of industries, because at that time, the planners and the government thought that the people which are free, they should be brought into the fold and make them work. So in the second 5-year plan, from 1956 to 1961, industrial development and employment with agriculture was promoted. This was only to absorb the human resources which were free after independence. So that if you keep them long time unemployed, without doing any constructive work, they may create some social problems. And because of that, the industrial development, employment was focused in the second 5-year plan from 1956 to 61, with agriculture continuing from the first 5-year plan. And if you look at the third 5-year plan, you will find from 1961 to 66, self-sufficiency in food, self-sufficiency in economy, self-sufficiency, Atmanirbhar. It started from 1961 to 1966 because the 1964 shortage of food crisis in India. And the then Prime Minister of India asking for wheat from US, and the humiliation faced by the Prime Minister because the treatment given by Lyndon Johnson to the Indian Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, was horrible. And it was a matter of self-respect for India. Eminent scientist with M.S. Swaminathan leading, Mr. Subramaniam, the Agriculture and Food Minister at that time, they gave a call for green revolution, self-reliance in food, because the lessons in this 5-year plan from 1961 to 66 were an eye-opener for India. And that continued in the fourth five-year plan from 1969 to 74, where the self-reliance Atmanirbhar call continued, and one more word was added: sustained growth in the fourth five-year plan. We should have a sustainable growth. And you will find that the popular statement in 1974 to 79, fifth five-year plan, removal of poverty, when we started to become self-reliant in food. So why not remove the poverty, and measures were taken at that time. And you will find that the sixth five-year plan, 1980 to 85, the improvement in infrastructure in agriculture and industry. Friends, I would like to remember you the sixth five-year plan from 1980 to 85, because from 1985, something happened in the world. The winds of liberalization started in the world. The call for liberalization. And this sixth five-year plan, which was improvement in infrastructure in agriculture and industry, becomes the base for today's in the agricultural and industrial development. In the seventh five-year plan, from 1985 to 90, we see that modernization and increase in employment opportunities was focused. Why modernization and increase in employment opportunities? Because this was the time, the seventh five-year plan, where the world started talking about liberalization. Even the socialist country, which was under the leadership of Mikhail Gorbachev, the President Mikhail Gorbachev of Russia, Soviet Union at that time, he also talked about perestroika, liberalization. Let us be liberal, let us open, so that we come close to each other and develop ourselves. So 1985 to 1990, seminar, conferences, symposium, meeting of the government heads, how to move further in a liberal way. Of course, after Second World War, the capitalist economies, they started how to capture the world again without ruling them. And they decided to capture them economically, and that is why you will find the tea parties and the general agreement of trade and tariffs which started after Second World War. And then when we came to the eighth five-year plan in 1992 to 1997, where human resource development was given importance, because by now the new economic policy of 1991 was instituted, and India, being the founder member of World Trade Organization, which came into existence in 1/1/1995, the planning for transforming the GATT from GATT to World Trade Organization, it started in the year 1991-92, where Arthur Dunkel was given a charge to prepare a draft for the World Trade Organization. And in this plan, only eighth five-year plan, the establishment of WTO was there. The ninth five-year plan, 1997 to 2002, with the liberalization, new economic policy, abolition of licensing, and openness of the country to invite foreign direct investments, invite MNCs from all over the world to come to the member countries and do the business, so that in turn they can use the resources, they can use the human resources, natural resources, contribute to the economy of the particular country. The new millennium brought new ideas and new initiatives. The 10th 5-year plan from 2002 to 2007 was a hallmark for investment, and FDI was a common feature. India was a destination which not only had natural resources, human resources, but also a ready-made market which the developed nations wanted to exploit. And that is why the foreign direct investment with MNCs from all over the world started looking at India as a destination where human resources available cheaply, natural resources are available, and a partial market is also available in India. So in the 11th 5-year plan from 2007 to 2012, overall development of the people with the overall development of the country was given a call. Now see this correlation. Up till now, the agriculture, industrial, and other policy matters were being finalized. But then, after the new millennium, the start of the new millennium in the 21st century, the Indian planners and the MNCs, FDIs, which came to India as a joint venture, as a solo investor, they thought that it is necessary to develop the human resources so that they can use the local human resources in a fruitful manner and contribute to the employment of that country also. And this overall development call for the 11th 5-year plan from 2007 to 2012. In the 12th 5-year plan, you will find that very intelligently the government instituted that the sustainable development goals should be fixed and that should be achieved. And that is why you will find from 2012 to 2017, the Atmanirbhar call was also given, so that the overall sectors of the economy, they develop. And this was carried forward in the 13th 5-year plan from 2017 to 2022. And of course, the hallmark of this was the aim to achieve a $5 trillion economy status. It is good. The target is 2025 for a $5 trillion economy. And physically, it is not possible. The government knew. So they very intelligently included defense. And the allocation for defense, you will find that 26,83,924 crore rupees for defense allocation. And this will help us to gain the status of $5 trillion economy by 2025. The present government has envisioned. And you will also find that the Human Development Index, which was 134 rank in 2012, it came down to 131 in the countries, that is 189. Out of 189, we had 131 standing in 2021, human development. I will come back to this point later on when I will explain certain parameters, how we are moving. But then you need to understand that while preparing for the 14th 5-year plan from April 2022, Niti Aayog has very, very dynamic vision to take India forward in this new millennium, the third decade of the new millennium. And let us hope that this dynamism continue with the overall development, because we cannot leave our core sectors. That is the need of the hour. And we need to develop overall sectorial development, one corner development, one middle development, up development, down development. It will not suit. It is like only right hand is developing and left hand is not developing. It is not so. The overall development is required, and the Niti Aayog, they are very positively giving a call for overall development. Before I come to the Human Development Index, I would like to highlight certain things. When I talk to you about new economic policy of 1991, and I talked to you about liberalization, which started from 1985. And this, the government was participating continuously in the talk of liberalization, how to open up. And because of that, in 1991, you will find that simplification of rules and regulations, opening the economy to competition, not keeping it closed, opening to the competition at national and international level, give more role to the private sector in the development, privatization of public sector organizations which were not working properly. The provision was made in 1991 economic policy, so that the loss-making public sector units will be transformed into a profit-making public sector unit, or it will be handed over to the private partners. And easy licensing was also the need of the hour, and what was very much expected. And since the government was hearing from all over the world to remove the barriers of entry and growth, so that foreign direct investment, multinational corporations, they come to India and they develop with India. That is why you will find that after the coming of World Trade Organization into existence from 1195, to which India is the founder member, the fast growth due to the five-year plan measures, import, export, liberalization, privatization, globalization, these were the things which moved very fast for India. Friends, before I come to the latest scenario and how the government is making efforts to take India to a certain level, next level, I would just like to enlighten you throw some light on human and social development. Because developing each individual in society to the fullest potential, investing in people, investing in families, is a long-term measure which will make India strong. And all the efforts are directed in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th 5-year plans. The Social Progress Index, if you see, India is ranked 117 Social Progress Index in 2021 out of the 163 countries. Why Social Progress Index? Because the basic human needs, which are foundation of the well-being of the country, and the opportunity for all-round development, not only for individuals, but also for businesses, that can be measured through Social Progress Index, where India stands at 117 in 2021 out of the 163 countries. Then come to the Human Development Index. At present today, you will find India is ranked 131. In 2012, I told you, we were 134 out of the 189 countries. In 2021, we are 131. And you will find that the Human Development Index of China and Brazil should also be kept in mind. We should not be happy that we are at 131. The competitors, Asian competitors and the world competitors. Brazil is 84 in Human Development Index. And the nearest competitor, that is China, is 85th ranked in the world in the Human Development Index. Then come to the another parameter of education literacy rate. And in education literacy rate, you will find India at number 168 out of the 234 countries, with 74.97 literacy rate in 2021. Of course, the mortality rate also is an indicator. And in 2021, infant mortality rate 28.77 deaths for live birth of 1,000. And maternal mortality rate in 2020 shows that 151 deaths of mothers while giving 1 lakh live births. Now this is again, we have to see, just remember, because when I come to healthcare after a few minutes, you will understand why this mortality rate is high. Life expectancy in India, 70.03 years in 2022 for female, 21 for female. And for males, 68.20 years in 2021. So 68 years and 70 years, 68 for males and 70 years for female in 2021 is the life expectancy in India. Friends, there are some sectors which are contributing to the sustainable development. And when we talk about human resource development, we should also keep in mind social development. And for social development, we require a very sound healthcare sector. Of course, in the COVID-19, the government gave priority to the healthcare sector. The government of India did a commendable job in the COVID-19 backdrop by allocating 2,23,846 crore rupees, which was needed. And this was the highest allocation to healthcare sector up till now after independence. It is quite laudable. It was expected also, and it was needed also. The reason was the pandemic of COVID-19. A 137% jump. And that is quite laudable for the present government. Rupees 35,000 crores for vaccination alone. And that is something which is commendable. Health and sanitary infrastructure was given a different weightage. A good beginning has already been done in the previous plans, but then with more allocation of 61,000 crore rupees, this is a shot in the arm for the development measures undertaken by the present government. And this is needed to increase every year. Why I am emphasizing on the budgetary increase in the healthcare sector, sanitary sector, the sanitary infrastructure. The reason is that this was by far the neglected area up to 2020. 2020 पर्यंत हा neglected area होता. Neglected area मी काय का म्हणतो? Why I am saying it is a neglected area? Because if you look at the healthcare spending of the countries of the world, you will find where we are. At the time of COVID-19 pandemic, at the start of 2020, when pandemic started, listen very carefully. The high income countries, they were spending 5.2% of the GDP on healthcare. High income countries spending 5.2% of the GDP. Upper middle income countries, they spend 3.8% of their GDP on the healthcare sector and the healthcare and sanitary infrastructure. 3.8%. Upper middle income countries. Lower middle income countries, they were spending 2.5% of the GDP on healthcare sector. Lower income countries, they were spending 1.4% of their GDP. And you will be surprised with the last figure which I am going to give you. At the start of the pandemic, India was spending only 1.28% of the GDP. 1.28% of GDP of India. This means that India was spending less than lower income countries, which was at 1.4%. Lower middle income countries, 2.5%. Upper middle income countries, 3.8%. And high income countries, 5.2%. That is why the government has taken the right step during the pandemic by making 137% more provision for the healthcare sector development. And the government want to increase it by 2.5% of GDP by 2025. The Indian government want to increase it to at least the level of 2.5%, so that we are at par with the lower middle income countries. Of course, 3.8 upper middle income and 5.2 high income countries are out of reach at present. But the target for 2025 is set. 5 trillion for the Indian economy size and the 2.5% of the GDP spending on the healthcare sector by 2025. Friends, other sectors of Indian economy also needs a very careful study. We are developing very fast and we have to keep pace because now the opportunities are numerous for India, a country like India. With China not in the good books of Europe and America. So this is a chance for India to establish themselves as the world force, emerging economy. If you look at the industry-wise, steel, India's crude steel production, 118 million tons in 2021. While the world leader China recorded 1032.8 million tons according to the World Steel Report. So when World Steel Report says China is producing 1032.8 million tons and India only 118 million tons, see the gap. As teachers and researchers, we need to keep this in mind and then plan accordingly. This is January 2022 report. Of course, India steel is the best in the world, one of the best in the world, Indian steel. But the diversification is needed. I always give an example. Whenever there is a construction in America, they say if Indian steel is available, use it. If not, then go for blah, blah, blah. Other type of steel which is available all over the world. The American architects, they suggest. The reason is that the Indian iron ore which is required for the production of steel is of a very high quality. And a very strategic thing Indian government has made in the last budget of 2021. They are allowing the Chinese steel to come to India. Of course, it is not a very good quality. But then if the Chinese steel is cheaper for India, we can export our Indian steel to the expensive or heavy currency countries so that we earn foreign exchange from the sale of steel to different countries of the world. This can be done. We can cash and increase our balance of payment. Like fertilizer industry, the import is 528 billion rupees. And we are importing from 41 countries around the world. 41 countries are supplying fertilizers to India. And export is less than 528 billion rupees. So there is a gap. Why not to develop the fertilizer industry? Because the demand is growing in India day by day. And when we talk about sustainable food development, sustainable food production, Atmanirbhar in this area, in the long run, if we become Atmanirbhar in fertilizer industry, it will benefit in the long run because automatically the import bill of fertilizers will be finished. It is required. Look at the textile industry. It was the strength of India. It is already strength of India at present also, like agriculture. It is a strength. But then it is also giving huge employment in India, the second largest employment in India. More than 35 million people are employed in this sector. And the share of textile in the GDP of India is 5%. And total of 7% in industry output in the value. Of course, industry is contributing 17%. Total of 17%. And industry and manufacturing together is 30% of the GDP. So when this is the configuration, textile has a very big scope and we cannot sit back. Ready-made garment export 1.30 billion US dollars in 2021. And the textile exporters, China, India, Vietnam, Turkey, these are the textile exporters of the world. And at number 4 and 5, number 5 and 6 is Bangladesh. Very close to us. Ready-made garment export, China, Vietnam, India, Bangladesh, US, Turkey. And Bangladesh is fast catching up. In fact, in the last 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, they have surpassed the ready-made garment export from India. Again, this is a matter of strategy, how to proceed, in what way to proceed, so that we get more self-reliant. When we export, we also get more foreign exchange. Our currency will become strong. Our balance of payment will become strong and India will become strong. Look at the toy industry, Khilona, toy industry. India is a giant, very big producer. But the problem is of cost of production. Cost of production is very much high in India. And that is why you will find India and China both are the members of WTO. If we do not want China to send the toys to India, we cannot stop. And you will find that 85% toys are imported from China, which are sold in India. 80%, 85% of the toys are imported, which is amounting to $600 million. And this is a big amount as far as the toys are concerned. The toy industry is facing a big challenge. And in the new millennium, this needs to be corrected. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. The exports from India is 1.83 lakh crore rupees. And the import is 352 billion Indian rupees. See the difference. Not only this, we can progress, we can do other things, but heavy dependence on China for the pharmaceutical industry. The API, active pharma ingredients, which are required for manufacturing of medicine, there is heavy dependence on China. 70% of the active pharma ingredients, they are imported from China in India. In 2020-21, the government of India gave a call. Go for the substitution. Instead of China, you purchase from somewhere else, purchase from Europe and other countries of the world. A good suggestion. But what will happen to the prices of medicine? Because Chinese currency is very cheap, not very expensive, as compared to the dollar and the euro, euro is above 80. So in the exchange rate, India will have to spend more on the raw material. If we bring active pharma ingredients from Europe and other countries of the world, that also should be kept in mind. And that is why, for sustainable development, at present, a mix of China and other country alternatives can be explored. If some of the active ingredients are present in Africa. Our industry, the Indian industry, can establish a plant in Africa, produce it there and bring it in India so that it will be cheap. And the supply for the medicine will be cheap to the people. Of course, the very good thing in Indian government, the present government has done is the popularization of generic medicine so that the common man will not have to spend more on the medicine which are patented and which are supplied by the multinational corporations, which are very expensive in nature. This is something which is again a long-term policy in the post-COVID is expected to cash on the disadvantage of China. China is not looked at a good friend by many countries of the world. They don't want to do business directly with China. So they are trying to promote India. This is our best chance to cash on the opportunity we get. Of course, the support of the government is there, but then the Indian companies which are big and operating not only in India, but also outside India, they need to come forward and cash on this opportunity. Another industrial area, that is chemicals. If you look at the imports, you will find 6 trillion Indian rupees, 6 trillion Indian rupees. And export is $29.3 billion. Again, there is a gap between the two. And the market is expected to reach 300 billion by 2024-25. And also increase in the employment by 2 million by 24-25. 20% of the chemical industry was disrupted due to the shortage of raw material during pandemic. And that is why last year, the government has listed 38 drugs for diversion so that the pharma industry will not only stand, but the pharma industry will get a chance to stand on their own feet and benefit more and more because of this disadvantage of China. Of course, Make in India is transforming India from the status of developing country to the developed economy. Already the status of the fastest emerging economy is given by the big institutions like World Bank, IMF, World Economic Forum, and the think tank all over the world. They have given the status of fastest emerging economy of the world. India is one of the fastest economies. With 25% target of GDP in manufacturing in 2025. This is going to be a massive jump because in 1991, 15% contribution was of manufacturing. And a few years back, it was 17% of manufacturing to the GDP. And now we want to transform it to 25% to the GDP by 2025. And you will find that our finance minister in the last speech mentioned that we want to make India a manufacturing hub. We all need to work because unless we all work, we cannot become a manufacturing hub of the world. I'll give you one example. Some of the researchers from SRT and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, teachers of commerce and economics, they went to the conference in Macau. And after that, we visited Hong Kong and then we visited China. And we happened to visit Schengen city, which is close to Hong Kong and which is having a population of more than 100 crores. An industrial city of China. In the morning, when we went to see the historical places, we could not find many people on the road. At 3 o'clock, we were left at the biggest park in Asia, in the Shenzhen city, and told that you can take round. It is in thousands of acres. Every facility is there, and we will reassemble at 5:30 p.m. so that we can go to the hotel. After 2.5 hours, we came back and sat in our buses. What happened? When we saw that at 5:30, we could see so many people. Kalyankar sir, I cannot sum up in 5 minutes. I was given less time. I will require at least 15 minutes because there are some very important aspects to be discussed.
Yes, sir.
Please keep in mind, I am going into very systematically. And when we started for the hotel, we could see people all around. Like you see the people when they move out of the railway station from Mumbai, in Mumbai, everywhere there were people. And we went to the hotel, and at the reception only we inquired, why so many people in this area? What is the reason? In the morning, afternoon, we could not find. The receptionist said, I have little English. You can talk to the manager. He will come after 1 hour. After 1 hour, 3 to 4 teachers, we went to the manager's cabin and asked directly the first question. Morning and afternoon, no people. In the evening, people from all sides were seen on the road. What is this phenomenon? He said, how you came? We came from Cathay Pacific Airlines and we landed in Hong Kong. He said, I would like to tell you, I would like to answer. I would like to have answer from you. In Cathay Pacific, you were given earphones. We said, yes, it was use and throw. You know where those earphones are made? I said, in the tiny industry or in the small scale industry. Maybe in tiny or small scale industry. He said, no, it is made at home. Then we were very much surprised. Who makes it? The grandfather and grandmother who are looking after the children. The whole day they are at home. They are given 3 carry bags. One wire is given, the sound system is given, and the cover is given, and the pouch is given. And they assemble it sitting at home when the children are playing. So the grandfather and grandmother, they do the work and they earn something as a pocket money. After 2-3 days when it is collected, they give them the money and that is earned. This is the power of China. Everybody is working. आणि आपण काय करतो? कॉलेजचं काम घेऊन जॉईंट डायरेक्टरला गेलो, विद्यापीठाचं काम घेऊन जॉईंट डायरेक्टरला गेलो, 1 तासात काम झालं तर त्या दिवशी परत येत नाही. I am tired, I will come the next day. This is our mentality. We are not ready to work. We need to work, then only India can become the hub of the world. E-business, mobile business, and blue commerce is the future. Electronic business is on the rise. It is not captured the market. Ghabru naka. Mobile business is on the rise. It has not captured. Don't worry. And blue commerce is the future. There is a limitation of flora, fauna, minerals on the ground. But underneath the earth, underneath the ocean, 1/4 is the land and 3/4 is the ocean. So many things are there in the ocean. We need to explore it. And that is the future. India is also exploring, and that is what we are having a strength. MSMEs, today if you see the study conducted by SIDBI, the latest study revealed that 67% MSMEs were closed for 3 months in the financial year 2021. More than 50% MSMEs, they reported decline in revenues. Their profit declined by 25%. And 17% reported losses from the previous year's sales. Now, this is something which is momentary, not permanent, but momentary. But then challenges will come. And this pushes back. This we need to understand. They are lifeline of India, MSMEs, medium, small, and tiny and cottage industries are the lifeline of India. India is a cash economy. We cannot transform it to the digital economy overnight because US economy at present is only 89% digital. It is not 100% digital, the strongest economy in the world. Out of the total industrial units in India, 98% are MSMEs, 98%. And mostly they are self-employed. With tiny, cottage, small, they are worst hit. 120 million people are employed, 12 crore people are directly involved. Indirectly, so many, double is involved in that. And it contributes 37% of the GDP. That is manufacturing and services. And this is something which is the strength of India. And we can cash the need to reduce the dependency on imports in pharma, imports in electronics, imports in consumer durables, toys, automobiles, textiles, chemicals. Import कमी करायचं आणि एक्सपोर्ट वाढवायचं हे जर आपण लक्ष ठेवलं आणि ह्याच्यावर काम केलं तर आपल्याला सक्सेस मिळेल. Look at the latest scenario. A new challenge has come due to Russia-Ukraine war. Already India has banned the export of wheat. And the government has decided that yesterday only, the Director General Foreign Trade has taken out a communique on 25th May 2022, informing that the wheat will not be exported till further orders. Not only this, a capping on export of sugar is also done. And 10 million tons is expected to be exported. This is a record up till now after independence. Why there is a ban on export of sugar? To maintain the stability of prices and availability in India. When I say historical highest up till now, 5.96 million tons were exported in 19 and 20, and 7 million tons were exported. Sugar was exported in 2021, and 21-22, 10 million tons will be exported. That is, the sugar will be exported. This is credit goes to the present government and its policies, because it will have a positive impact on the balance of payment. The foreign exchange reserves will increase. And that why government has banned the export of wheat? Because 30% of the wheat which is exported from Russia and Ukraine and supplied to the bread basket of the world, which will lead to the global hunger and destabilize the poor nations of the world. India also want to hold back some of the wheat so that there should not be any shortage. Sri Lanka, Pakistan are not doing well. The neighbors are not doing well. So we have to be very cautious and we cannot rely on China. So as a measure, India has taken a right step, because if you look at the world scenario, 53% rise in the wheat prices throughout the world, and further 6% has come on May 16th, 2022. That is now 58% increase in the prices of the wheat, because India declared the suspension of wheat. 6% was added to the global rate. So now 58% rate has increased in the world. The research pointed out that the cost of staple food is already up, and the number of people cannot be sure of food to eat by 440 million to 1.6 billion people. They will not be able to afford. And 250 million people are on the brink of famine, only due to the implication of the war. And the supplies from Russia and Ukraine are limited. If the war continues, hundreds of millions more people could fall into poverty. Political unrest will start. Children will be stunted and people will starve. This is going to happen. We also will feel a pinch, not very much impacted, but little bit pinch will be there. Only the good news at the end, within 2-3 minutes I will end. The edible oil prices may come down in few weeks, in coming few weeks. The reason is Indonesia has shipped 2 lakh tons of crude palm oil to India yesterday, 25th May, and it will reach this weekend. And that is a good sign for India, because if the lower palm oil prices will be there in India, it will reduce the cost of the raw material. And because of the reduction in the cost of raw material, the rate of the soap, shampoos, biscuits, chocolates, all will come down. Out of the 63% palm oil which is supplied by the Indonesia and Malaysia, 45% is supplied by Indonesia to India, and the rest is supplied by Malaysia. And that is a good beginning for India, because the stability will automatically come when the Indonesian palm oil comes back to India. Thank God we revoked and we again brought the Indonesians on track. Otherwise, this would have been a disaster strategy, right? Because from 72 rupees per liter edible oil, we are now getting edible oil at 150 rupees, 140 rupees per liter. Double. This is not affordable for a common man. So good thing that we are in receipt of the edible palm oil, which is coming from Indonesia, started yesterday. The global prices of oil already fell by 5% because of this strategy of you can say Indonesia. And so it is likely to fall in India also. This can stabilize India. Friends, make in India, Startup India, and different programs which are initiated by the government. These are not magic wand, jadui chhadi nahi hai. These are going to bear fruits in the coming years. Now, these are the initiatives which are taken by the government on the basic infrastructure which is already prepared through 5-year plans in India. And today it is the launching pad for the government to initiate all these programs and make India strong, Atmanirbhar, and self-reliant in all the sectors of the economy. I hope I have given justice to the topic of sustainable development, because if we sustain, we will be carrying the development for the long time. If we are not able to sustain, then there can be problems in near future. So let us hope that the sustainability factor will continue and India will become strong, stronger and strongest economy in the coming years. Thank you very much. At the onset, I would like to thank Sant Sauta Madi Gramin Mahavidyalaya for inviting me, especially Dr. Takle, Dr. Kalyankar, Dr. M.B. Thorat, Nitin Malegaonkar, and rest of the organizing committee for organizing this National E-Conference in a very systematic manner. And I came to know that yesterday's sessions were also very live. And today I also saw some of the paper presenters. They will learn with experience. You have given them a chance to progress and it will happen in future. My best wishes for future endeavors to Shri Sant Sauta Madi Gramin Mahavidyalaya, Pulamri, District, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, for their future endeavors. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much, sir, for your excellent and fabulous presentation. So you have covered each and every aspect of sustainable development and economy, and in fact, what it should be and how it should be, the things towards the goal, achievement of goal and self-reliance. So very mind-blowing lecture, and it was very rich, in fact, and with all inputs covering all facts.
Ubed sir, आपका you are not audible. Please start your audio. हाँ. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Start your audio. Ubed.
My audio, yes, sir. Our chairperson for the session. Yes, sir, you are right.
Right now, call upon the professor for vote of thanks. Kindly offer, please, vote of thanks.
No, there is presidential remark of this technical session.
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir. So now I call upon the chairperson, Professor S.S. Patil, sir, to give us a presidential remark for the session. Dr. S.S. Patil, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, please give me one minute. Sir, please give me 1 minute, sir. Okay, sir. I have Malayankar Nitin. Welcoming the chairperson of this technical session set 2. I will give a short introduction of Dr. S.S. Patil, sir. Principal Dr. S.S. Patil, sir, is an associate professor and author also for so many books. He is working in the Department of Economics in GVR Degree College and PG Center, Huvinahadgali at District Vijayanagar State, Karnataka. He has written so many books on the economics, like that Bharatade Arthikete, Dr. S.S. Patil for the UG and PG students and for the competitive examination student. The second book is Indian economy for the UG PG student competitive economics, monetary economy, and conviction and relevant revelation of the mystic. Then he has published so many articles on socio-economic issues in North and Hyderabad, Karnataka in daily newspapers. Participated in state and national seminar and workshop as a paper presenter and a business person also. Served as BOE chairman BSK University Bellary. Presently working as a BOS member at BSK University Bellary. Sir has also a research experience, research work on new railway project between Gadag and Haranhalli at new railway line. Life member of Indian Economic Association and also president of Karnataka State Economic Federation. Sir, I heartily welcome to this conference on Indian economy for the technical session 2 as a chairperson. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, good afternoon to all. I am audible? I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. Audible.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Respected principal, sir, and respected today's resource person, Dr. Azahrudin, sir, and the HOD of Economics, Kalyankar, sir, and all the organizers and all the participants. I'm very happy to participate in this national seminar. I have to share some important ideas and opinions about the journey of Indian economy in the past 75 years. Dr. Azahrudin sir has beautifully analyzed the history of the Indian economy in the past 75 years. And I'll give some important focus on some bullet points on Indian economy in the past 75 years. Just I will take 10 minutes. Now the time is 12:26, and by 12:36 I will complete my presidential remarks on this particular topic, journey of Indian economy in the past 75 years. Respected sirs and my dear friends, India is the fastest growing economy in the world. India, in the past 75 years, in India, there is a very good opportunities for Indian economy to grow with very systematically, and also there are so many challenges, especially in Indian economy. Just I will give focus. Sir has already beautifully analyzed from 1947 to till date. Just I will some concluding remarks on Indian economy with some bullet points. So the position of Indian economy in 1947. Just I will start with my point with 1947. The position of Indian economy in the year 1947 at the time of independence, industrial growth rate is absolutely nil. In 1947, we're having stagnant economy, and especially immediately after independence, the two important problems in front of Indian economy, that is, one is the food and literacy. The food is a major issue. The food problem is a major issue in Indian economy, and the literacy and population. How we are overcome all these problems in the past 75 years. Then, especially the development of Indian economy is in the three parts. The 100:1:10:1. So 100:10:1. I mean, what we have achieved in the past 100 years between 1900 to 2000. 1900 to 2000, there is 100 years. What we have been achieved in the last 100 years, we have been achieved in the last 10 years. That is from 2001 to 2010. So what we have achieved in the last 10 years, we have been achieved in only 1 year. That is from 2010 to 2011. That's what Indian phase of economic development in the past 75 years or 100 years. That is 100:10:1. Just I will give some focus on Indian economy in the past, what we call the 75 years, with comparative discuss what the Azahrudin sir has systematically analyzed the challenges and opportunities and present situation of Indian economy. Then especially immediately after independence, in 1951, the Constitution of India was enacted. So Indian economic phase of Indian economic development under the framework of Indian Constitution. So in 1951, the plans were started in the year 1951. But unfortunately, in India, at present, economic plans are not economic plans, it is a political plans, highly politicized. It is a first drawback on Indian economy. Then what happens in 1956? The second industrial policy of 1956 was enacted by the government to change the structure of Indian economy. The very big public enterprises introduced by the Nehru. That is, it is called as Nehru model of economic development. That is from 1950 to 1990. So this the phase of economic development of 40 years. It is called as Nehru model of economic development. So very big public sector enterprises, then especially the 17 industries are owned and managed by the government over a period of 40 years. Then what happens in the 40 years? The public sector is inefficient, so heavy leakages and loss. To overcome this, what we call the mistake, the government of India was introduced new policy, that is a new economic policy. What Azahrudin sir has stated, that mixed economy, the coexistence of private and as well as public sector. Where we are in 1990, we are switch over from public sector to private sector. So we have minimized the what you call the public sector enterprises to 17 to at present 5. At present it is only 3. So this is one structural changes in Indian economy over a 40 years of independence. It is called as Nehru model of economic development. So here there are so many hurdles and as well as some obstacles in the development of Indian economy because of some technical issues. Then what happens in the, especially in 1968, it is a very important year. The one more point is, especially in 1950 to 1990 and 1980, these 3 decades of what we call the Indian journey of Indian economy is a rapid increase in the population, the galloping increase in the population of India over a period of 1950 to 1980. From 1921 to 1950, there is a slow development of Indian population. From 1950 to 1980, there is a galloping increase in the population. It is one of the important hurdle on Indian economy to achieve rapid economic development. And another very important side of Indian good economic development, the Green Revolution. In the year 1968, to overcome the what we call the food problem, then the government of India launched what we call the Green Revolution. So there are so many advantages and disadvantages of Green Revolution. I will not discuss all those things. Then especially it is one of the important changes in a green economy. And as well as in 1951, Land Reforms Act was passed by the government. But unfortunately, some states are strongly implemented the Land Reforms Act. Some states are what we call the improper implementation of Land Reforms Act. This is one important thing. Then another important change in banking sector, 1969, that is what we call the nationalization of Indian commercial banks. It is very important phase of Indian economic development because banks have played a very significant role in Indian economy. That's what to strengthen the Indian banking structure, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she is called as a golden woman of India. She was nationalized nearly 14 commercial banks, public sector banks, and in the year 1980 April, again the 6 banks are nationalized by the government. At present, more than 28 nationalized banks, including SBI and as well as subordinate banks, more than 135 branches scattered all over the India by rural and as well as urban area. It is one of the wonderful achievement of India's nationalized banks. And RRBs, rural regional banks. These are some important structural changes to improve the service sector in Indian economy over a period of last 50 years. And especially in the transport and communication, India achieved a wonderful communication revolution only after 1991. This is the past 30 years, there is a technological revolution, digital India. These are some structural changes in Indian economy in the period of after 1991 only. Then especially in 1991 to 2021, this is the year of what we call the new economic policy, LPC, liberalization, privatization, globalization. Sir has already focused on all these issues. We should have hats off to our honorable past Prime Minister of India, Dr. Memon and as well as B.A.M.U. the pioneer of Indian economy, to change out the structural changes in the Indian economy over a period of 30 years. In spite of all these what we call the opportunities and as well as problems, still there is so many problems. The important problem that is regional imbalances, especially even after the completion of 75 years, there is some disturbance. There is regional imbalances in the north states and as well as south states and as well as northeast total the states. Then especially in India, even after the completion of 75 years of independence, it is very difficult to remove the proper removal of regional imbalances in the country, because still today there is a inter-district imbalances, interstate imbalances. So these are the problems. In spite of that, in the last 2 years, there are so many issues. That is a pandemic. Due to pandemic, there are so many issues. Indian economy setbacks, some because of some multiple issues. Anyway, heads up to the government and all the state governments to pick up to the economy over a period of last year after the pandemic. And especially in this, at this situation, this type of seminars are very essential to discuss about the how to improve the strengthen of economy, Indian economy, and all these particular seminars, online seminars, paper presenters are very helpful to use some academic inputs to the government to improve the strengthen the Indian economy in the coming days. All these issues discussed by Professor Azahrudin sir. Once again, I will congrats all the paper presenters and congrats to the all the faculty members of the SSM college. SSM college. Pulamri, SSM College, Pulamri, I'm right? SSM College, Pulamri. And my friend Kalyankar to give an opportunity to share some ideas. And I would like to thank all the participants and as well as resource persons. Thank you, Undanada. Namaste.
Thank you very much for your inputs. You have briefed, you have summed up all your lecture in a very nutshell, and you have wind up in very few minutes. Thank you very much, sir, for your inputs. I hope the inputs which was given from the conference and seminar, if it reaches to the proper channel from the government, it might from the academic part of view, it will live into miracles. And if it really implemented, what we discuss into our seminars, the brains which is discussing all this, that should go up at a higher level and it should be incorporated in the policy making. Thank you very much, sir, for your inputs. Now I request Dr. Nitin Malgaonkar for the vote of thanks. Nitin, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Memon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for giving me mic. Today, we are gathered here for the technical session of the second day of the National Conference on the Journey of Indian Economy since independence, after independence. So for the session, first of all, we are very lucky to have with us Dr. Sayyad Azahrudin sir. I will thank himself from the bottom of my heart that he has shared his thoughts and valuable experiences and also his knowledge. He covered a lot of area of the Indian economy after independence to up to the date with worldwide. Actually, the relation between the Indian economy with the world and the strength of Indian economy, the scope for the Indian economy in the future he has shared with us. He has guided the participant and researcher. Also, we have got so many areas to research in future. I thank him for his guidance. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The next chairperson for this session, we have with us Dr. S.S. Patil, sir, from Karnataka in GBR Degree College. The sir has also shared his views, his knowledge with us. He was a very informative speech shared with us. He guided the researcher and students. And for his valuable time he shared with us, I thanks for him. I will express the gratitude for himself and also for our session coordinator, Dr. Ubed Memon sir, also with us for this as a session coordinator for this session, technical session. I am also thankful for Dr. Ubed Memon sir that he helped us to coordinate this session, to coordinate between the organizer and the researcher, the paper presenter. He has very well coordinated all the research and take the paper presentation of the paper presenters. I am very thankful to Dr. Ubed Memon sir on behalf of the organizing committee of this conference. So next, I will give